Here we are with Overwatch This. I'm Jeff from the Overwatch team.
Hello again, YouTube. It is Newface Barrett here with Mr. Matt Purslow for yet again another episode of Overwatch This. We're on to episode 37, and you lucky folks have had 3 episodes in 7 days. Imagine the glories that await you in the future. Today we're going to be talking about a number of little different topics. Not a ton going on this week, but some little bits of news. Tidbit week. And we're going to kick off with a little bit about some stuff that came out of it. It was an Ars Technica video.
It was, yeah.
So we're going to start off with that. Okay, Matt, give me the facts. What was in this Ars Technica video? What was this Ars Technica video?
It was kind of like essentially an Overwatch University sort of lecture.
Right.
With the 2 Jeffs, Mr. Goodman, Mr. Kaplan.
Yeah, different spelling, same pronunciation.
Yeah, but giving the good stuff, basically. And like if you go and watch the video, I recommend it. It's really fun.
I think I watched a few minutes of it and then was sadly distracted, but it was entertaining. They're good together.
Go down and sit and watch the full. It's like 11.5 minutes, and I would definitely urge you to go. But my favourite bits from the video
give
is...
me the highlights.
So, Torbjorn, bit of a Destiny's Child fan.
Aren't we all?
I mean, of course.
Aren't we all?
But yeah, according to Jeff, when he's listening on his headphones, he's listening to Survivor.
Okay, that's pretty good. I would think I mean, you know, so there's 30 million Overwatch players. There's probably been hundreds of millions of matches of Overwatch played. Yeah. They're all about 10 minutes long. In those matches, Torb must be in roughly, I don't know, a 23rd of them. Yeah. So, I mean, he's listened to Survivor a lot.
He has. Like, I want to see what his Spotify kind of records are. You know, at the end of the year, it's just like...
You've listened to more Survivor than anyone else ever put together.
On the globe, yeah.
Fair play. Okay, what else?
So, Goodman gave a little sort of nice thing about Genji. Right. Really regrets giving him the double jump.
Okay. I think he and the community regret this.
Yeah, he says it just made balancing him an absolute sodding nightmare. And
he's still, you know, one of the better characters in the game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Skill capping.
But because they were kind of like really sort of like pushed trying to find out how they could balance him, they kept putting him off, and it was like, we're not going to focus on Genji, we're just going to ignore him. So it actually took about 1.5 years to build Genji as a character. Right,
okay. Because he was one of the latter characters to be kind of revealed, right? In fact, he was one of those final 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, that sort of makes sense. And there's something here about Kaplan's daughter.
So Kaplan's stepdaughter, and there's a wonderful kind of anecdote that he goes into about sort of like how they used to play Minecraft together and stuff like that. But basically her online kind of tag is E54. Right. Which you might have noticed is the number 54 crops up a lot in Blizzard games. Right. But most specifically...
Scattered around.
Yeah, most specifically E54 is the chassis number for Bastion. Right. And it's there as a homage to Kaplan's stepdaughter.
How nice. She must be over the moon.
Less so.
Right.
So she's older now, she's in her teens, she plays a lot of Overwatch. Recently changed her battle tag so that it wasn't E54 because she hates Bastion mains.
Well, I mean that's just mean. Is her new tag like Genji for life or something? Like she's gone full heel.
I imagine we're not sort of like divulging that for sake of people probably wailing on her.
I can imagine. Okay, so you should go watch that full video. It's pretty entertaining. Jeff are both excellent boys. And pretty good on the camera. We'll move on to, there's the new kind of patches on the PTR, which we know about, but there's some crash logs to investigate. Sexy crash logs. This is to do with the patches on the PTR, some stuff to do with Doomfist as well.
Yeah, believe it or not. Who would know that a crash list could be so exciting? So basically, as you know, when you try out things on the PTR, things might go wrong. Yes. Things have been going wrong.
Because there's this very complex new highlight system to do with kind of recording stuff. And if you don't know, the 2 most complex things you can do in video games are play the video game and attempt to record the video game and encode the video.
So things have been going wrong with there. That's to be expected. It's in testing at the moment. Yeah. So when players have been submitting their error logs for what's been going wrong, people have noticed that there's a particularly interesting tidbit named in the title. So if you send an error log off, you may have found that the title would have been Overwatch 1.13.0.0, which we all knew, that's the patch. Yeah. But that patch is called the Doomfist/Summer Games.
Yeah. Now, one part of that is slightly more exciting than the other.
Sure.
It does confirm that Summer Games are going to be coming back. I think that's something we could have all predicted. It's something they basically said was going to happen. Exactly what's going to be in that, up for debate. There'll probably be new skins. I'm sure Lucio Ball will come back. But the Doomfist stuff, now that is more surprising.
Here's the character that we all want, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the character that we've been begging and demanding and abusing people on forums about for
a good,
months
like,
and
3
months.
months, yeah.
So it's a case of like, is this finally where is it? Like, I'm hoping it's not just Blizzard being a bit of a troll.
That would be pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like every single patch from now on is just called like Doomfist / some event.
Sure, but yeah, it could be that we are about to get Doomfist. I mean, so like if that is true, my assessment from that would be maybe we're going to get the Summer Games for maybe a few days, and suddenly Doomfist crashes the party.
Yeah, as it were.
And just like lands in a game of Lucio Ball or something like that.
That does sound fairly interesting. And that, to be honest, that kind of it would match up with what he's done before, where he kind of shows up somewhere and just destroys everything, and you can imagine him kind of attacking a sporting event to get to some item.
It would be like the Bane sort of thing from.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you also mentioned here that since that's been discovered, they've actually taken Doomfist out of that error log.
Yeah. So now that error log, I believe, just reads that it's 1.13.0.0.
Okay, fair enough. So decide
they know
for yourself.
You're onto them, basically.
Yes, decide for yourself what's going to happen there. I really would have thought that if it was going to happen, like they were going to add him to the PTR, they would have done it this week, and it would have been yesterday. Now, it will have been a week since the patch went up, the day after this comes out, on the Thursday. So, I mean, obviously, if there are any updates, do keep an eye on the site, and no doubt we'll probably do another emergency video, much like we did for the loot box stuff. If you haven't seen that, do check the last episode, as we did do a special episode. So yeah, there will be more Doomfist stuff soon, maybe, hopefully. Yeah. And then finally, there's some stuff about the Overwatch League to go over. So, late last night? Yeah. Mr.
UK
Nate
time.
Nanzer, late last night, UK time, probably early morning for him. Mr. Nate Nanzer, who is the Overwatch League commissioner and is pretty much the boss of Overwatch Esports, released a letter, a kind of statement on the official Overwatch League site, saying that they had essentially sent a survey to a number of very, very good players that said, do you want to be in the Overwatch League? Among other questions. What are the details here?
So basically, obviously, they're trying to create a scouting report, basically. Sort of like, their talent scouting is what they're doing. And so they've sent out a survey. They sent it out on June the 27th to players that fulfilled a specific criteria. So that criteria would be if you've, in seasons 3 or 4 of competitive, if you finished in the top 500. Okay. That's quite indicative of the fact that you're pretty good.
Best 750 or so players in the world.
Sure, yeah. If you were a playoff finished kind of like player in recent high caliber tournaments, so we're talking something like Apex Season 2, Premier Series 2017 Spring, or if you've had maybe an invitation to the Pacific Championship 2017.
Okay, so any of the kind of big tournaments that are going on,
particularly
the kind of Korean League, which is at the moment the best league there is.
Sure, and then any other kind of distinguishing qualification. So basically, if you're on an established kind of Overwatch esports team.
Yeah, not just 6 guys who like playing Overwatch together.
Sure, We're not going to get invited, Ben, basically.
Probably not, no.
But yeah, if you've got some sort of distinguishing merit to you, you'll have had the survey as well. If you're one of those, please do give us a comment. Tell us how you're doing.
Let us know if you are planning on taking part in the Overwatch League. I think they're hoping most of the answers were yes.
Yeah, and so that's the deal, isn't it? They're hoping that any of the people that have been asked, they're going to say, yes, we're interested. And that means that then those players will have their names passed on to Overwatch teams that are looking to build a roster. Basically.
Yeah, and presumably they'll create, statistics like, okay, here is their KD in like proper tournaments, here's who they play, here's their role, their favourite characters, who they do best with, who they do worse with. I mean, American sports statistics just go into ludicrous detail, right? Like right down to the weeds, and presumably that's something that the Blizzard want to build up because it's something that creates interest and viewership, and people like getting really into the weeds on that stuff. And it's also something that teams do use. Again, big American sports teams use to make some decisions. As he mentioned in that, statistics aren't the be-all and end-all, and they're not expecting just, okay, well, here are the 6 players with the best statistics. There'll be one team, and that team will win. There's a lot of stuff to do with player synergy and people being happy and where people live and that sort of thing that'll get pulled into it. But it sounds like a pretty good idea, and it's kind of the first major step towards the actual Overwatch League that we've seen.
Yeah,
so far.
It's been a massive kind of build up to this, and it feels like things have been moving quite slowly, I guess, like over the months since we knew that Overwatch League was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to know that like the core building blocks of any kind of esport are the players themselves.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know now that kind of like there are big movements being made to actually making this happen. And you know, it can't be, surely once you've got those things in place, it can't be long.
It can't be 1,000 miles away. No,
Yeah.
there wasn't any announcement in there about it being delayed. They still haven't said anything about it being delayed. The next Activision Blizzard's like conference call is coming up fairly soon. I think it's early next month or something like that. So you know, that's where we would expect to hear if it had been delayed, or if they had any additional plans for it, because it is still meant to be this year. You know, it's meant to kick off this year. And while Overwatch Contenders has been going on, exactly how, you know, all of that's going to shape up, we don't really know. What is interesting about this is it kind of implies that they're willing to just bin all the teams that exist now.
Sure.
Because they're creating, you know, a scouting report with every player that exists in the league. They're essentially saying all of these players are free agents, as it were, you know, people that are available to any team if they want them. Now, those teams and those players can make individual decisions. So hopefully, you know, it isn't just a case of, well, one team who has all the money decides they want the 6 best players and are willing to pay for them. And then those players decide, yes, they'll go do that. And it, you know, breaks up teams and ruins synergy and that sort of thing. But it will be interesting to see how this impacts the endemic esports teams that have been trying to, you know, build teams in this and keep the scene alive over the last year or so, and also, you know, what it actually rolls out to when the LA Tracers or whoever decide that they do want, you know, these 3 really good players from these 3 really good teams, and whether all that can actually be worked out. I think what's going to happen is there will be a teething period that is pretty rough for a lot of these teams, and this is part of why we've seen a lot of them pull out. Ninjas in Pajamas pulled out couple of weeks ago, I think it was. Then, you know, they're not the first and they won't be the last. And I can imagine these teams saying, look, this isn't worth us to be in right now. We might as well wait until all of this works out. But if that teething period can be got through, and I mean, I'm talking it could last a year, it could last 2. If it's got through, then you have a proper North American style esports league for a video game, which will be the first of its type that is, you know, the only thing that exists for that game and is the defining structure for it. Interesting to see how it goes. So that's everything for this week. We will have more next week, possibly more later this week if Doomfist does pop up, which he seems like he's so close now. Maybe it'll be Terry Crews, maybe it won't. Do keep an eye on the site. Do hit like if you enjoyed the video. The subscribe button's right nearby, so you might as well hit that while you're down there. More videos this week, including Anthem.
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking a little bit of Anthem, and I'm sure much more that you will enjoy. There is also a stream coming up tomorrow. So please do look out for that. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.